Absolutely.
All right, how about this one, Shane? Missouri at number 25, South Carolina. We got to give them their due with that ranking. The Mayor's Cup is what they call it, Shane.
Uh-huh.
Sellout crowd here in South Carolina. The Gamecocks favored by 3.5. Over under 46.5 total points. The game kicks off at 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 Central on the SEC Network. And let me just say this real quick, Shane, because this is something I was thinking about today. But I don't want to influence your pick or anything, but I keep seeing South Carolina, by God, 5-2. This is the worst 5-2 team in the history of football. If they get to 6-2, if they get to 7-2, they got Vanderbilt next. This will be the worst 7-2.
Mm-hmm.
Who gives a damn about all that? All that matters is if you're winning or losing. And I really want to give a shout out, Shane. You've heard it all week from the coaching staff, but it's true. These fans have just been incredible. And they're selling out Williams-Brice Stadium. They are fully on the Shane Beamer train here, helping this program. And maybe, teams like Georgia and Alabama and maybe even Tennessee you could throw in there, Shane. They don't need a sellout crowd to will them to victory. And this is not meant to disrespect South Carolina, but they need it. And they made that difference against Texas A&M. They jumped on the Aggies, and it helped them win a football game. And it may be the difference here Saturday too, because we both think Missouri, much more dangerous team than a lot of the other people are giving them credit for. So I just give a shout out to the fans, Shane, for doing their part to bring South Carolina to this top 25 ranking in the country. I think that had to be said. But how about this, Shane? Missouri has actually won 3 in a row in this series.
Yep.
They won last year 31-28. And Missouri leads the all-time series 7-5. Of course, that's not played a ton, but you'd be stunned how many Missouri's record against all these SEC East opponents that think they're in a class above Missouri, that yet they have a losing record or tied record. You know what?
Yeah. Well, you made an interesting comment this week about South Carolina, that they're this year's Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about that, brother, but I'm going to go a step further. I think they're Tennessee. And the reason I'm saying that is, here you're coming off, you got a new coach. How good is this guy going to be? We're there's some people, it's split. And I love when other fans hate my coach. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of people that hate Beamer.
Yeah.
They just hate the way he acts. They hate the way, but the fans, the players, they're all embraced it. And that's what I like. So when I think of Tennessee, I think, the former years, it was so good, but we were lost out there. We could not find a coach. And since Spurrier, you had the Muschamp, and it's like you felt like, okay, you convinced yourself that this is the guy. And then you wind up on Beamer. And I guarantee if you poll the audience, South Carolina didn't pick Beamer first. He was not on a lot of people's short list, but he's really grown. And same thing with Heupel when he came to Tennessee. There was a lot of people not convinced that that's going to work, that we got the wrong UCF coach. That was a theme, So I don't know. You're sitting there at 5-2, top 25 program going into November. How can you not be ecstatic of where you're at? Potentially winning, what is this, the 5th game? 6th game? I don't know. Shit, they just keep winning, and that's all that matters. It isn't pretty all the time, but and then on the other side, the other Columbia, you got Coach Eli over here with the Tigers, and I think one of the best defenses that's in the country right now. Mm-hmm. A lot of people look at the scoreboards, and they, even last week, oh look, they barely beat Vanderbilt. Good God, South Carolina's going to blow these guys out of the water. Well, yes, but that was a lot to do with the shitty offense of Mizzou, to be honest with you. And I know it sounds crazy, but they gave away a touchdown. They kept putting this defense in bad position. So I think this is one of the best defenses, and their offense is actually getting better. We made the joke, we don't know which cook's going to show up to the kitchen, and if the good cook shows, man, they can beat South Carolina, and they can beat them bad. I'm not going to lie to you. There's a real potential that South Carolina could lose by more than 2 scores if Mizzou puts it together. But
there's always a but.
But if ifs and buts were candies and nuts, we'd all have a wonderful Christmas. And I don't see them Gamecocks losing this one, brother, because of something you mentioned right out of the gate. The home field advantage. It doesn't get brought up as much as it should in the SEC, but I'm telling you, Bryce has got that home field advantage, and it will be rocking. And it will be swaying back and forth. And that's I joked, the 12th man, that's what they should put on there, because when that crowd is involved, it is a dangerous, dangerous place to play. I don't think that this is going to be a quote unquote exciting game to watch. I feel like this is going to be a bloodbath, back and forth. Some 3 and outs. It's going to get ugly at times because, like I said, I want to give credit to not just Mizzou's defense, but South Carolina's too. And so this game, I was this close to predicting the upset, man. This close. I'm not going to lie, but I can't do it because of home field advantage and one more sandstorm. So my Morristown Honda dealership game of the week goes to South Carolina 21, Mizzou covering the spread 20.
And here's something to keep your eye on, Shane, because all season South Carolina had scored 21 points in the first quarter. Mm-hmm. Now that was until Texas A&M. They got the 17 with the kickoff return and the defense, multiple turnovers, setting them up in great field position. So I want to see if South Carolina again struggles on offense, or if maybe they've turned the corner and yes, they got aided by the defense and special teams last week, but maybe that gives you momentum to come out firing. But I think you may have hit the nail on the head. If they start slow, I mean, this is going to be a slugfest, Shane.
Yeah.
And I really think, what does Missouri do? Well, they don't do anything well on offense, let's be honest. But what do they specialize in that they can do is run the ball, Shane. South Carolina, 104th in the country in defensive running efficiency. So I think Missouri is going to have some success on the ground against the Gamecocks here. South Carolina should be at a huge advantage when Missouri tries to throw the ball. Thanks, because I don't know if the good cook is going to show up or not. But something we said all week, Shane, it don't matter if South Carolina runs or passes. Missouri is at a huge advantage when they're on defense. So, Spencer Rattler, I think he's not lived up to the hype. I think even the biggest of Gamecock fans can say that. Not to say that he's terrible or anything, but Marshawn Lloyd, can he carry you to a win over Missouri? I'm not so sure. So it's going to take a special teams play to potentially win this game. The home crowd, like you said, should be a major, major advantage. Old Drink, he's won here as a Missouri coach. He's won here, Shane, as an Appalachian State coach. Remember that one? God, was I mad when they won that one.
Me too.
So, he knows how to win in this stadium. We'll see if he can carry it over here. If Missouri gets the win, Shane, it'll be their biggest win of the season and almost lock up a bowl trip by the end of the season. So a lot on the line for the Missouri Tigers. This has to be a Luther Burden, Dominique Lovett takeover type game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If
Missouri is going to win, and they have that potential. But, man, how can you go against that momentum? Honda Morristown, game of the week. South Carolina, 24. Missouri, 23. We almost have the identical score here, Shane. I mean, this is a complete toss-up. I really do think, and I think South Carolina fans overlooking this one. They're making a big, big mistake, and I think the tone was set early when that Vegas line came out, and people expected it to shift, but it never did. This is going to be a tight ball game, and Missouri has been in a number of tight ball games this year, so they know how to handle it. You know what?
Well, and I think that's part of it is if you think back all the way to September, it was a close game with Auburn. They blew that one. Georgia had an opportunity. It was a 4-point game, I think. Florida, touchdown.
Yep.
Even Vanderbilt, if there was an extra quarter in that game, probably would have blew that one. So that's what scares me most about Mizzou.
Yeah.
I'm not worried that they can't stay with South Carolina. They've proved that they can stay with anybody. But I don't have confidence in them closing out the game and being the last team with the ball. So that's my biggest concern with Mizzou. It's again, they've got a lot of great pieces, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But South Carolina just finds ugly ways to win. And so why bet against that? I'm not.